Rockin' Richard's movie reviews, and today I am going to be reviewing my top 10 romantic movies of all time.
But you're the man I've been dreaming of.
What do you eat before you go to bed?
Mostly women, I guess, are gonna probably be watching this. Not a whole lot of guys, and you'd rather go to a bar like Cheers and hang out. By all means, do that instead. This video is not gonna be for you.
Oh, they'll never say that. They'll say,
like Cheers. Let's go to Gares.
And so, without further ado, and without telling you, what I have for breakfast, or any stupid nonsense like that. So, counting down from number 10, we have Beautiful Creatures, right? So, it's a witch movie, or as they prefer to use the term, caster. Yeah, so, anyways, it's based on a series of books. It stars Alden Ehrenreich. I think that's his name. I had a friend named Brent Ehrenreich. I don't know if you're watching this, Brent, get a hold of me. So anyways, yeah, Alden Ehrenreich, and he's an okay actor. I mean, he does his job, but I'm not sure if he's leading man material.
but he does look like a puppy who's been rescued from a puddle.
And in this, he's the leading man. And it's about this young girl named Lena who is a witch, and she just moves to town, and she moves to a Bible-thumping town. Yeah, yeah, it's a Bible-thumping town. Yeah, here I go again in my Fargo voice.
Yeah.
And she gets gets bullied a lot in school because they consider her a Ravenwood.
I happen to know for a fact that you're making Ravenwood's niece.
Well, bless your heart, sugar. You must have been first in your litter.
When she claims she's a Duquesne, her last name is Duquesne, but Ethan is her love interest in the story. He kind of defends her in class, and on the way home from school, her car breaks down. Ethan comes across her, and he picks her up. She has this thing coming up called the claiming. Okay, she's going to be either claimed for the dark side or the light side.
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
So they're all telling Lena she's going to go dark. So they're trying to do all they can to get Lena to go dark in order for her to turn or something. If she goes dark or something, the lore says that when she's reading into the witch compendium, she's going to have to kill somebody she loves. And she's afraid that she might kill Ethan. This is one of the most beautiful love stories. That's what drove me to this. Yeah, you never expect you'd find a romantic movie in a movie about witches, but yeah, it's got so many good moments, and the end of this movie is what gets you. Man, I just my heart burst out of my chest.
Oh God, that's all I need.
It's well worth the watch. I guarantee it. All right, I guarantee it. Alden Ehrenreich, I don't know. Who was their second choice? Pauly Shore?
Figure we's a little juice.
But Lena is played by Alice Englert. As soon as I saw her in this, the way she talks and how she acts, and yeah, I just fell in love with her. I would give my right arm just to take her out to dinner.
The only thing you should be taking is penicillin.
She is so lovely, and she's so talented. She is so talented. Alice Englert does a wonderful job as Lena. She hits all the right notes. All her line deliveries are right on cue. You can't imagine any actress saying them any better. You want her to succeed. You want her you want her story to be a happy ending, is what I'm trying to say. Ridley ends up her witch charm is she can seduce any man she wants to. And so she takes an interest in Ethan's best friend, uses best friend to do her bidding to get Lena to go dark side. Okay, so Beautiful Creatures, highly recommend it. Moving on. Now, finally, 9th favorite romantic movie of all time is Always. Always, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Academy Award winner Holly Hunter, Academy Award winner Richard Dreyfuss, Academy Award either winner or nominee John Goodman, and introducing Brad Johnson as a love interest in this. It's such a good movie. It's based on an older film called A Guy Named Joe. Well, in A Guy Named Joe, he was a World War II fighter pilot. In this remake by Steven Spielberg, he's a firefighter. So yeah, he plays a firefighter pilot, and they're up in space in the mountains, and this is where they train, and they also like send out their pilots to put out fires. And Pete is in love with Dorinda, who's played by Holly Hunter. Richard Dreyfuss, he goes and he risks his life to save his best buddy's life, John Goodman, and he ends up dying because he did it. He didn't risk his life; he gave his life for his friend. Yeah, which is one of the greatest things you can do. So anyways, yeah, Holly Hunter is torn up by this, and he comes back as a ghost to help Holly Hunter's character get over him and move on with her life. And this is one of the most beautiful movies. I had to stop for a second, sorry. I'm talking about it starting to get to me. There's a fantastic monologue at the end of this movie that Richard Dreyfuss delivers to Holly Hunter. That's how Richard Dreyfuss's ghost talks to Holly Hunter. He talks to her through thoughts which she thinks are her own. And he does that with other people too. When he goes to heaven, this is what they tell him he can do. And you know who tells him this? This angel named Hap. You know who plays Hap? Audrey Hepburn. And she, I think she was like, I don't know, in her 60s or 70s when she filmed this. And she looked just as beautiful as she did when she was 30 to me in this. If ever a ghost could tell you something about your life, this is what you would want to hear. You add Academy Award-winning composer John Williams' music to this. And his music, wow. I mean, just, Brad Johnson, the newcomer, he plays Ted Baker, and he's this new guy that is trying to romance Dorinda while she's still trying to get... Sorry guys, I'm just learning how to talk today. While she's still trying to get over the death of her fiancé, Pete. Yeah, and Holly Hunter. She's funny. Holly Hunter is funny.
Girl clothes.
Get back!
So there's comedy in this, and she killed me, I spotted. And so John Goodman tells her and Ted Baker to go to the store to get some supplies. And so they're on the way. And this is Brad Johnson plays Ted. He decides to do a John Wayne impression. Well, I'll tell you there, little missy, you're mighty pretty when you get angry. Uh-huh. And so she goes, oh, you do impressions? He's all, yeah, just the one. Yeah, Spielberg fought to get Holly Hunter in this movie. Boy, this got mixed reviews because I just think it was because critics weren't used to Spielberg doing a romantic movie.
Well, they were wrong then, weren't they?
I hope you guys enjoy it. We're moving on. My 8th favorite movie of all time. Jack Nicholson and Helen Hunt and Greg Kinnear and Cuba Gooding Jr. in As Good as It Gets. Yeah. Jack Nicholson stars in As Good as It Gets, and he plays Melvin Udall, who's this writer of like a series, a book series or novels or something. He gets commented on like by fans saying, oh, how do you write women so well? He's one of the most rudest people you can ever want to meet. I mean, he is just rude.
Is this a piece of your brain?
And he's obnoxious, and he is just self-centered, self-serving.
Here's a man that quicksand would spit up.
You'll find out as the movie goes on that he has an ailment. An ailment?
Wait till they get a load of me.
He has obsessive-compulsive behavior disorder. There, it's out of the bag. He's very meticulous, very germophobic, and it's not. He's not trying to be funny. That's how he is. And so he likes to go down to this restaurant in the neighborhood where Helen... I was going to say Helen Mirren. No, Helen Hunt. So she plays a waitress down and that waits on him every day, and none of the other waitresses want to wait on him because he's so rude. Carol, Helen Hunt plays Carol. Carol's son, Spencer, has asthma condition, and she has to take him to the hospital constantly, and she has her mother watching her son at home while she's at work making ends meet. And Jack Nicholson, Melvin Udall, shows up at her house wondering what happened to her. He takes an interest.
Well, he's taken an interest. That means he'll make your life hell.
In her son. He becomes concerned about her son.
He's taken an interest.
He asks her how he's doing. It's totally enjoyable. It leaves you with a good feeling. Okay? To my 7th favorite romantic movie of all time, Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. Yeah, don't let the title fool you, folks. It's more about the relationship between Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth Bennet, as in the classic novels. Mr. Darcy is played by Sam Riley. Lily James is in this. She is so intelligent, beautiful, charming, kick-ass in this. Yeah, so the women, the 18th century women, and they're like, you know, and they're beautiful 18th century. The costumes in this are... Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies is one of the most romantic movies I've ever seen.
Oh my God. Woof.
The dialogue in this is, it's so intelligent and so heartfelt. I get Mr. Darcy, he's trying to romance Miss Elizabeth Bennet, and she has the wrong impression of him for some reason. He thinks that, he offended her somehow by something she assumes that he did based on word of mouth from somebody else instead of going directly to the source and asking him about it. So he writes her this letter apologizing for what she thinks he did, and he gives a reason for what he did. My God. You see she's reading the letter. The camera's on her, but it's his voiceover reading the letter to her. I just lost it. I would dream of saying that to a woman that I loved or cared about. Most men are bothered by intelligent women.
You know, I've never met an intelligent woman that I'd want to date.
On behalf of the intelligent women around the world, may I just say...
My number 6 favorite romantic movie of all time is The High Road to China, with Tom Selleck and Bess Armstrong. Okay, so Tom Selleck, you know him. He was in Magnum P.I.
Magnum, I found a fingerprint smudge at the crime scene. Do you have poo on your hands? A little.
You know, and he's been in tons of other things. Right now, I think he's in the TV series Blue Bloods. But in this, Tom Selleck plays an ex-World War II ace fighter pilot named O'Malley.
Yeah.
No, not the Disney O'Malley. Thomas O'Malley. Okay? No. Patrick O'Malley. He's Patrick O'Malley. He's no Thomas O'Malley. Alright? Yeah, and the funny thing is that Tom Selleck, even though he's named O'Malley, he doesn't do an Irish accent. He doesn't. Don't know why. Bess Armstrong, who you might know from Jaws 3D. And she does an excellent job. I also fell in love with Bess Armstrong in this movie. I did. Like, yeah. She plays Evie, and what happens is she's a socialite. And this is a period film, and she's a socialite, and her lawyer gets in touch with her during this, like, you know, ball or party, whatever, and tells her that Bentic, her father's business partner, her father's an inventor.
The first man to stuff spaghetti with bicarbonate of soda, thus causing and curing indigestion at the same time.
She hasn't seen her father in like years. And so Bentic is trying to declare her father legally dead so he can take control of her father's company, which means if he does, she'll be cut off. No money at all. And the last that she heard, he was somewhere over the Himalayas or somewhere in China. So she hires Tom Selleck to fly over China and go find her father. That's it, man. That's the plot. The aerial photography in this movie, it's remarkable because they filmed this movie in Yugoslavia. I did it. Watch this movie. You will be caught up in the story. You will be caught up in the relationship between Evie and Tom Selleck's character, Patrick O'Malley. It's romantic off the charts. My 5th favorite romantic movie of all time. Haha. Some Kind of Wonderful. John Hughes film, and it was directed by Howie Deutsch. I love Some Kind of Wonderful. I really do. When I saw this for the first time, it got me, man. It's a movie, it's a love triangle movie. And so it stars Eric Stoltz is Keith, who comes from the poor side of the tracks. He's attracted to the most popular girl in school, who's like the head cheerleader, Amanda Jones, played by Leah Thompson, who you might know from Back to the Future as Marty McFly's mom.
My God, I know her.
Yeah, and he hangs out with this tomboy played named Watts. She's played by Mary Stuart Masterson. And she's in love with Keith, and he's in love with Amanda Jones. But yet Amanda Jones is dating this jerkweed dickhead.
Oh, no way.
He treats Leah Thompson's character, Amanda Jones, treats her like dirt, cheats on her.
Even women are possessions to him.
So she breaks up with him during the movie when she catches him cheating on her, like in public.
Oh, no way.
And he witnesses what happens at the breakup. He asks Amanda Jones out on a date, and she agrees. This movie is where I fell in love with Mary Stuart Masterson. She's that adorable.
I know how you feel.
Yeah, there are 3 main stars in this, but honestly, even Eric Stoltz said this. This is Mary Stuart Masterson's movie, because when she comes on screen, she steals the show. Her acting prowess is unmatched. Watch this movie just to see her performance. Yeah, so they got some indie bands from the 80s that did music to this. Lick the Tins do a cover of Elvis Presley's Can't Help Falling in Love at the end of this, which is so good. Billy Idol has a song in here, Catch My Fall by Billy Idol. Right! Okay, so yeah, that's it for Some Kind of Wonderful. Moving on. My 4th favorite movie of all time, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Audrey Hepburn, George Peppard, and wow. Yeah, the plot of this movie is just like really kind of simple. Holly Golightly, who's a socialite, I think in the 60s, she's a gold digger. She's just kind of lost. And George Peppard is a writer that moves into town.
All in all, not a bad guy. If looks, brains, and personality don't count.
And he's not the best of characters either. He's a kept man. He's having an affair. I can never do that. I can never cheat with somebody else who is married. I can't. It's not in my character. I can't do that.
As if I didn't have enough problems.
And so she bought him an apartment in the city, in the same building as Holly Golightly. Then when it gets too serious, Holly Golightly, Audrey Hepburn's character, gets scared. To find out what happens, you have to watch the rest of the movie. She has this saying of, instead of like getting the blues, which means, you're just sad. She gets the mean reds.
I picked up a touch of that in Mexico one summer.
Mean reds, I guess, according to her, is when you're scared of something and you don't know what you're scared of. It's kind of logical, I guess. It said, like, Henry Mancini wrote the song Moon River specifically for Audrey Hepburn to sing in this. My heart stops every time I see her in this one scene where she's just strumming on this banjo singing Moon River. So anyways, yeah, that's Breakfast at Tiffany's. My 3rd favorite movie of all time, Somewhere in Time. This movie came very close. Very close. This movie right here. Came very close to being my number 1 favorite romantic movie of all time. You know what? Maybe it is. And it stars Christopher Reeve, who was, to me, the original Superman. Yeah, but Somewhere in Time, to me, is one of the most romantic movies you will ever see in your entire life. What happens is Christopher Reeve is a writer. He writes mostly plays, which his plays are like well received. So the opening night of his latest play, this startling and somehow enchanting elderly woman. This elderly woman makes her way through the crowd. The crowd almost parts for her, like Moses and the Red Sea. And she walks up to Christopher Reeve and she gives him a pocket watch. And she looks him in the eyes and she says,
"Come back to me."
What makes this movie special is the music. The music is its own character in this. And John Barry, like I said, does the music. He did the music to the James Bond, most of the James Bond films, the good ones with Sean Connery. He does the music to Somewhere in Time, but the only piece of music that's in Somewhere in Time that he didn't do is a classic piece of music, and it's by Rachmaninoff. They call him Romantic Rachmaninoff, and it's Rhapsody on a Theme of Pagani. Talk about movies that make you tear up or get emotional or cry. Somewhere in Time I think I went into a crying coma. I mean, I was out of sorts, man. I was like, I needed to be comforted somehow, some way. I needed, like, 10,000 arms hugging me to get through the end of this movie. Cause it'll shake your world up, man. It'll shake your world up. Do yourself a favor and rent Somewhere in Time for $4.99 on your flat screen TV on Valentine's Day and watch this sucker. So anyways, that's my review on Somewhere in Time. Christopher Reeve, Jane Seymour. You will not find a more romantic movie anywhere. Notting Hill with Julia Roberts and a guy, Hugh Grant. I can't believe I remembered it. Hugh Grant. I keep wanting to call him Hugh Jackman. One of my favorite romantic movies of all time. My second favorite romantic movie of all time. Julia Roberts plays this actress, this really well-known actress who's recognized on the street. She ends up, to get away from reporters, she ends up going to Hugh Grant's flat. You can guess the differences that come between them, that he doesn't know what it's like to be pampered by the paparazzi or the press, and she doesn't understand what it's like to be a normal person.
Well, all the jokes can't be good. You've got to expect that once in a while.
He tells his friends that he's bringing a date to dinner. And they're, ooh, a date, who's this new girl? And when he walks in with, the most famous actress in the world in this movie, they're like, it's basically, it's just it's a typical Julia Roberts rom-com plot.
What the hell do you think this is? Hamlet? Going with the wind ruggles of red...
Moving on to my number one favorite romantic movie of all time. It's the independent film Garden State. Okay? With Zach Braff, directed by Zach Braff, I think written by him too, and starring Zach Braff and Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman steals the show in this. Yeah, so Zach Braff, he plays this guy. Something happened to him when he was a kid, so he's been on these antidepressants his whole life, which left him kind of numb. And so he comes back to his hometown for his mom's funeral, because his mom passed away. While he's in town, his dad recommends that he goes to the local psychiatrist to get checked out, And while he's there, that's when he meets Natalie Portman's character, Sam. The chemistry between Natalie Portman and Zach Braff is automatically there. You can see it. You will all fall in love with Natalie Portman in this film. You will. Yeah, you will. Her character, Sam, is so sweet, so adorable, so...
We love you, Natalie! I want you too!
She's got that joie de vivre, That's my top 10 romantic movies of all time. Take care, guys. And until next time, I will catch you later.